Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of our NASCAR Heat 5 career mode here on the channel. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we kick off a new round of the playoffs. It's a round of 8 where myself, Bell, Larson, Chastain, Ty Gibbs, Chase Elliott, William Byron as well as Ryan Blaney are all set to fight for a spot in the Final Four going into that Las Vegas finale. You see the Truck Series grid as well on your screen. No Truck Series action this weekend. They have just one more race and that'll be at Homestead, Miami before the cutoff, where of course Homestead, Miami in this round of 8 is the cutoff race to get into the round of 4, as this round consists of very difficult tracks. This is going to be the most difficult round of the playoffs by far. It makes up of Dover, where we are today, but as well Darlington for the next episode, and then Homestead to finish things off going into Las Vegas. So a couple of mile and a half there to end the season, but it's going to be an exciting end to the season, I think. And yeah, we come in, of course, the top seed, but I mean, we're not safe by any means. One bad race is all it's going to take to knock us down and maybe potentially below the cut line. And Dover, of course, is a track that we've had success at in the past, so I'm not too concerned about this one. But Darlington is definitely kind of the track I have circled on in this round where I am concerned. Of course, we've seen some drivers recently kind of bringing in lots of momentum. Kyle Larson has been out of this world fast in the round of 12, but he was not able to pick up a win. Christopher Bell as well, 2 wins in the round of 12 like I did in the round of 16, and his worst finish in the last 4 races is 3rd place. Christopher Bell has been absolutely on a tear now as we come through into qualifying with a goal of a 23.736 here out of turn 2. Hard on the gas down this back straightaway and in towards turn number 3. Looking for a top 20 starting position is really what I'm trying to aim for as we throttle up on the exit of 4 right up towards that outside wall. We cross the stripe with a 23.356, and that will put us P14 here in the Worth 400. So overall, a solid starting position that I'm quite happy with now, as you see Eric Jones on pole with Kyle Larson, Austin Hill, Shane Van Gisbergen, Alex Bowman in the top 5, Martin Truex Jr. in the 67 here for the second time this season for 23.11, just inside the top 10 as you see the rest of the finishing positions here from qualifying. Xfinity Series action as well in town this weekend as Williams Wallace, by the way, bottom of the grid, making another Cup start this weekend. However, on the Xfinity side of things, it was the new to come Hendrick driver Rajah Caruth picks up his first Xfinity win in subpar equipment. So how about that? Haley Deegan as well, P2, Jesse Love, William Sawallich all having good races. Connor Zilish inside the top 10, Carson Kvapil, Parker Retzlaff with a bit of a rough day as you see the playoff grid on your screen. But there was some big drama that came out of this weekend actually, and it was Kevin Harvick and the RCR driver of his, that will be his, Chase Purdy, actually having a disagreement, a strong disagreement over the course of the weekend, that Purdy felt like he should have been promoted going into the Cup Series next season for Richard Childress Racing. However, Harvick disagreed, and it sounds like there might be some beef there that leads to Chase Purdy potentially on the out from Richard Childress Racing going into next season. So Harvick beefing with potentially his own drivers. We'll have to see how that continues to develop. But nonetheless, let's head into the Cup Series action on Sunday.
It's a new round of the playoffs and maybe the most difficult round yet. The round of 8 is set to kick off with the most consistent drivers of the season, all going to some of the toughest tracks.
Dover, Darlington, and Homestead, Miami make up this round. All very different tracks, and as you mentioned, difficult as well. Nobody is safe in this round.
Not even Owen is safe at the top of the playoff grid. So many things can happen here today that could flip this playoff grid upside down.
Right, boys, thanks for the hard work. It was a great round of 12. Let's keep that up into this one, and I don't see why we can't make the Final Four.
Absolutely, mate. Let's get after it here and keep a clean nose all day.
So, ready to roll here as the top seed of this round of 8. But Christopher Bell has quickly inserted himself into the conversation as one of the favorites. I would consider the favorites to be in the Final Four. Myself, Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson, and then it's kind of a toss-up between Chase Elliott and maybe Ty Gibbs. Outside of that, that's kind of what I have. Ryan Blaney, of course, William Byron, I wouldn't rule them out completely, but we'll see what happens as the green flag is out and we're racing here from Dover for the first race of the round of 8. Now, Denny Hamlin's final time here at this speedway now. Martin Truex Jr. here on the number 67. So much success for Martin Truex Jr. in the past when it comes to Dover, home of his first win in the NASCAR Cup Series all the way back in, 2007, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, retired from full-time competition here in the Cup Series, but finds himself in his second race of the season. And of course, looking at 2311, as a whole, Denny Hamlin going to be doing some races with that team next season, but obviously we know the number 11 is taken for Corey Heim, who's going to be doing his second season in NASCAR Cup Series competition, just with a new team, of course. JTG not even going to be on the scene next season, as we already know. That news came out quite recently. But I mean, if you watched just a few minutes ago, of course, the Kevin Harvick and Chase Purdy situation there, it's gonna get interesting to see what's gonna happen here in these coming episodes. Now, 4 wide there, Reddick Banks out of it, Blaney, Bubba Wallace, Kyle Busch, all right there together now as we roll through 3 and 4, and Justin Haley, he would get to the inside, but he would eventually jump up to the top as I'm trying to find my way down here as well. And you can see Chandler Smith now moving forward on us as we come through towards the end of lap 5, and we find ourselves in the 21st position. 36 laps to go in this stage. As you can see, look it up all the way against the wall. Ryan Blaney now, as here comes Todd Gilliland up my inside. I am struggling in these early laps now, and Gilliland slows up right in front of us there, but he continues his way forward. We follow him on the inside now of Kyle Busch, and here comes Chris Buescher. He was just eliminated, of course, from the playoffs, and now actually, but the contact right there, we squeeze him out of it now. But yeah, to the lead actually goes Denny Hamlin, the number 11 FedEx Toyota Camry. Hamlin to the lead in his final trip to this Dover Raceway now. As you can see, Buescher's able to actually get past us. That number 17 has definitely got some speed here today. A few playoff drivers seem to be struggling though, including myself, Ryan Blaney, Ross Chastain, as well as Chase Elliott. And Chase Elliott put together an unbelievable race at the Charlotte Roval to put himself into this round of 8. It wasn't a great round for him, and he was able to rebound in Charlotte and put together the performance he needed. It wasn't a, race-winning performance, and of course we saw the drama at the end of that race in the battle with Kyle Larson, and of course Christopher Bell with that bold 3-wide move on the exit of that bus stop chicane that allowed him to, of course, move through into the position to take the lead and win the race. It was absolutely incredible, and we've talked about Christopher Bell's average finishes, or just last few finishes. I mean, he's at 2/3 and 2 back-to-back wins now in the last 4 races, and then Kyle Larson, of course, was so strong in that round of 12. We know he's going to be so hard to beat here, and I would expect him to make it into the final 4. Caution is going to be out for the first time here today. That'll force everybody into the pit lane. I couldn't actually find the reason for the caution for the first time. So we will just come into the pits here. We're going to put the wedge from 50.0 to 49.8. So go down a couple clicks as Hamlin and Martin Truex Jr. lead us into the pits. But Denny Hamlin would have a terrible pit stop, and he would fall outside of the top 20. He's like 28th as we go back racing here, which now puts Martin Truex Jr. into the lead. Here is, of course, site of his first win in the NASCAR Cup Series now, well over 15 years ago, just right around 15 years it would have been at this point, 2007, so definitely more than 15, I guess, yeah. But yeah, up the inside now of Justin Haley. You look in the rear view mirror here, you got Chastain with that yellow playoff banner. He won the first race of the round of 12 that locked him into this round, so he didn't have to worry in those 2 other races. But now, of course, it's time to pick it up again, and we look at favorites and whatnot, and we've already talked about favorites before, but I really do believe that we've got a great chance to make it into the Final 4 this season. We've never been in the Final 4. We never really have been expected to make it to the Final 4 because we were with Colleague Racing, of course, for the first 2 seasons of this career mode. The fact that we made it to the round of 8 you know, last season was quite a feat for a colleague car, and of course colleague racing in such a different position, you know, right now going into next season as well compared to where they were one season ago. And we know colleague is going to be downsizing to just one single car with Josh Berry behind the wheel of that number 16 Chevrolet next season for them. Now new leader William Byron out in front in that number 24 in this round of 8. He's been very quiet but consistent. Probably the quietest driver that's in the round of 8 right now, because he has not really, you know, been fighting for wins. He's got one win on the season, but he just hasn't really been, you know, right there in the conversation to win races so far in the playoffs. But he's been, like I said, consistent enough to get to the point he's at now. And here he is showing up in the round of 8, first race, leading this thing. Now, with 2 laps to go already in stage 1, there was a lot of laps here at the end of the stage where just nothing was happening. So we were just kind of riding around in P13, which I was actually quite happy about because it didn't seem like we had a car capable of even running 13th a little bit earlier. But William Byron out of turn 4 comes through to win stage number 1. A great start to the round of 8 for the number 24 as we roll through turn 3 out of turn 4. It's going to be P13 here in stage number 1.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the car is just not fast. That's really the issue here.
You hear me on the radio there, just letting James Small know the situation. Tyler Reddick gets the last stage point. Todd Gilliland there in the top 10. A great effort from him. Eric Jones having a great day. Busher up to 3rd. Larson there, P6. Bell P5. So seeing some guys that we want to be beating ahead of us. Unfortunately, we're making more adjustments now on the left side tire, or right side tire pressures, putting them both down to 46. And the left sides, we're putting them up a few pounds to 21. We gain 1 spot in the pit lane, not necessarily wanting that because it now puts us on the outside as we are back racing here from Dover, and it's going to be behind the number 45. A slow start there for the 34 of Gilliland to start the second stage. Now as we dive down in through turn 1 and 2, you got Ty Gibbs back here. How about Denny Hamlin trying to march his way back forward after a horrendous pit stop as I actually clipped the outside wall on the exit of turn number 2. Do a little bit of damage there to this number 19 as now Chase Elliott joins the conversation back up the inside in that Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet now. So you look at playoff drivers outside the top 10. You got Gibbs, you got myself, you got Elliott, Blaney, and Chastain. That's 5 of the 8. The only 3 inside the top 10, of course, are William Byron, Kyle Larson, and Christopher Bell. I say Christopher Bell, he's had a bad restart. He's dropped back, and you see him just in front of us now on the nose there briefly of Denny Hamlin. As you see Chandler Smith, sorry, all the way up on the outside, and he would drop back to now myself, and we were up the inside of that number 13, rolling through turns 3 and 4. Martin Truex Jr. now down to P12. We're seeing a lot of position shuffling, which this is a track, Dover, a tricky track, a challenging track, but you can also see a lot of position shuffling, and we're seeing that here today as well. But right now, still at least seeing the 24 of William Byron out in front as we roll down into turn 3. Look at all the cars on the outside, but Chandler Smith takes advantage, shoots down to the middle, takes the run, clears nearly the 67, and he would get past both Truex and he would pass Gibbs as well, as I'm continuing to try and follow here as we roll through 4, briefly 3 wide with Truex and Gibbs. Truex kind of backs out of it a little bit now. Gibbs maintains P12, but I mean, really kind of struggling a little bit here early on now. Myself and Gibbs just don't seem to have the speed, while Bell has a great car inside the top 10. Denny Hamlin seems to have a great car as well. He's gotten past me and he's gone forward. Shane Van Gisbergen eliminated in that last round of the playoffs. Had a great Charlotte, just unfortunately other cars that were in front of him below the cut line had great days too. Chase Briscoe, Chase Elliott, and Chase Briscoe put up one heck of an effort now for the final season for Stuart Haas. Cautions out for Daniel Suarez and Meyer Shank Racing there. And now that's going to make things interesting, because I thought, no, maybe not. Okay, I thought we were going to see other cars pitting, but that was just one of the lap down cars actually. So false alarm on that one. Everybody's going to stay on the racetrack. Byron, Busher, Jones, Logano, Hamlin, your top 5. Brad Keselowski having a solid run there. Row 3 on the outside for this restart in P6. Kyle Larson still having a very solid run inside the top 10 as a green flag is back out, and we're racing once again. It's a little bit shy of halfway here in stage number 2 as we make the run down towards turn number 1. Truex just in front now. Gibbs on the inside. Kyle Busch there filling up my mirror behind. We slide up a little bit. We cover him off though on the exit of turn 2. Get back down into line now and just follow that 67 of Martin Truex Jr. into turn 3. He goes all the way up the track and I follow him, unfortunately. Not trying to follow him. It just kind of happens. But fortunately staying ahead of that 99 of Kyle Busch. So Corey LaJoie would briefly clear us, but we get back alongside into turn number 1. But we're really struggling in these restarts as well. You can see again just gliding up the outside here now, and here comes Austin Hill in the number 8 future driver of that number 3 Chevrolet for Richard Childress Racing starting next season once of course Kevin Harvick and Austin Dillon transition into the ownership role of that team as Richard Childress decides to step down and give up the reins now, as you saw Hill go pass off my mistake. Eric Jones out in front again, started on pole position, and he's quickly proving that was no fluke of a pole because he's got the speed to back it up here in the race, in the top 10 there in stage 1, and of course now running in that front position. We just don't have the speed that we need. I mean, we're coming up on halfway through stage 2 and we just haven't gone anywhere really. I mean, we got up to 13th in stage 1, but now we're down to P16 fighting, you know, for 15th place. But Ryan Blaney's hot on our rear bumper as well. We know Chastain's having a bit of a rough day, Chase Elliott as well. So Ty Gibbs, of course, struggling to get some points right now, but still just not overall a great race going for us. It could be worse. We could be like 30th, but overall, as we actually catch outside wall, Blaney goes through and takes the position. But overall, it could be worse, but it definitely could be better considering we won this race earlier in the season, of course, with a little bit of chaos and a late race yellow to put us in position to do that now. But you can see Blaney kind of charging forward. Now he's past Shane Van Gisbergen as well. That puts him through into the 14th position as we continue on. Crash. William Sawalich now in one of his only cup starts of the season, I think his 3rd of the year, goes around hard into the outside wall. Caution flies for the 2nd time in stage number 2. This is going to bring everybody into the pit lane here, except actually Justin Haley electing to stay on the racetrack. So we're going to put on 4 tires, fill it up on fuel, and get ready to roll here for the tail end of stage number 2. So overall, we lose 3 spots due to the, as well, 0-6 of Daniel Suarez remaining on the racetrack, and I think somebody else might have stayed out, but I'm not 100% sure who. But nonetheless, we get back racing here from Dover, and now we have a little over 15 laps to go here in stage number 2, but we need to find a way to get some speed. I mean, we've come into this race where we have enough of a buffer in the point situation where it's not the end of the world if we have a bit of a rough day here in Dover, but you're just thinking long term, of course. You don't know what's going to happen when you go to a track like Darlington for the Southern 500, a long, grueling, challenging race in the middle of the round of 8. Then you go to Homestead, Miami, where, you know, ripping the wall is kind of the favorite thing to do, which leaves yourself very vulnerable to things going wrong, as you see some stacking up in front of us. Denny Hamlin's back up there fighting for the lead of this race, and he goes to the lead. Hamlin back out in front. Suarez, however, holding up everybody right now as we exit turn 4. So that's, of course, not helping our inside line. I could force it 3 wide if we want to, and I think we're going to have to resort to doing that if we're going to try and, you know, make our way forward here as these laps go on. So down this back stretch into turn 3, we would do exactly that, making a move up the inside of the A, but it doesn't really help us a whole lot now. We might be 4 wide briefly. Suarez all the way on the top. The A backs out, and so does the 99. Elliott trying to follow through on the inside now. William Byron back to the lead. He won stage 1. He's looking to win stage 2, but we still got quite a bit of racing left here in this stage, clipping the outside wall with the right rear, and then out of turn 4 into the outside wall with the right side of the car, and that allows Chase Elliott to go through on the inside. We continue to struggle here as it just doesn't seem like anything I do is really working here today in Dover. It's quite frustrating at this point now, and I know we just need to try and get it to the end of the stage, but we maintain at least with the 60, with the 54, with the 9 as well, and we try to get back into this battle, but it's obvious we're not going to get, you know, stage points here as we continue to roll, and we clear the number 16 right to the back of Chase Elliott, who would actually get to the inside of Gibbs, and now past the 54 as I would settle in just behind here with now just 10 laps to go in stage number 2. A dive again up the inside, looking for the position over that 54 car at a turn 2. We're clear, we take it. A bit of a close call, but the job's done, but it wasn't long until I missed the bottom. Lap 33, Gibbs fights back up the inside. He takes it back as we come through to cross the stripe 9 laps ago. At this point now, trouble in front. That's Noah Gregson. Blowing a right front wheel, comes down into the side of the 9. The 54 contact as well. We'll see him pit alongside Justin Haley and Daniel Suarez.
Okay, what do you think about pitting here? We're not getting points, and we can stay out at the end of the stage.
I mean, yeah, we need to try something. I mean, nothing's working right now. Let's just, pit. I'll ride around and do whatever we have to do.
So we're going to come into the pits here. We're going to put 4 tires on it, fix up the damage that we've also got in the car. We've been going back and forth on the wedge. We've been making adjustments. Nothing seems to be working. But yeah, I mean, the car felt tighter there after I made those tire pressure adjustments. So Justin Haley, Austin Dillon, Suarez, myself, Gregson, all in the pit lane here. So our plan is quite straightforward here. We're restarting with 5 laps to go in stage 2, and it's so evident that we don't have the speed or the pace or the track position that we need. So we're going to try and find a way to get that track position by just rolling really slowly here around the racetrack until the end of stage 2 for the final 5 laps, and that will allow us to maybe only put 1%, 2% wear on our tires, giving us an opportunity to stay out at the end of stage 2 while everybody else pits. It should put us into the front here now, depending on what the other guys that pitted around us do, but it'll be interesting to see if that works. Of course, the downside is we will have about 5 laps less of fuel. So now 3 laps to go in the stage, and we see the 24 of William Byron in full control. As I say that, Denny Hamlin to the point now. Can this be the day for Denny Hamlin now as he tries to end a long, grueling, winless streak? Now well over 30 races, over 40 races, even over 50 races at this point now, as we come through to the final lap of stage number 2. And Denny Hamlin is in control through 3 and turn number 4. It's all DH11, not in the playoffs, but Denny Hamlin going to come through to win stage 2. Byron second, the highest playoff driver. Bell Larson as well inside the top 10. Chase Elliott got a pretty decent result there in stage number 2 while we cross the line 39th. So we are going to stay on the racetrack here and, well, quite simply hope for the best. We're going to be the only one doing this strategy. Even the guys that just pitted, well, they've elected to come in as well. So we're going to have to pit about 5 to 6 laps earlier than everybody if it somehow stays green here in stage 3. And we just need to hope that there's not a caution in between that and everybody else making their pit stops a few laps later. We're now P1 for the restart as we're back racing now. Stage 3 is officially underway. Lap 90 of 140. 51 laps remain now as Denny Hamlin on the outside into turn 1. He'll give up right off the bat the position to myself. We clear him on the exit of turn 2. William Byron in that Raptor machine ready to pounce. He's been strong all day as well. He's doing a fantastic job to put himself in good position to be, of course, in that final 4 conversation. If you're in the round of 8, you're automatically in that final 4 conversation, but that 24, they're doing a great job being involved in it there as I slip up the track though on the exit of 2, lap 91, and that's all Byron needed. Byron to the inside, and now we're in trouble. We're drifting up the racetrack here, trying to keep it out of the outside wall, and we lose a bunch of track position.
I don't know, dude. It's just not working.
Okay, keep it cool here. Lots can still happen.
Definitely starting to get a little bit frustrated. I mean, we come into the playoffs, of course, or into this round of 8 as still the top seed, but, you know, our gap to the cut line is a lot smaller than it was last round or the round before and whatnot. So there is some concerns when you're just not running good. But, I mean, as James Small said, it's early. Lots can still happen. So, you know, never say never, as we have a mirror full of Chris Buescher as well as Martin Truex Jr., who's going to get to my outside on the exit of turn 2. He's going to take the position. He would clear. It's actually barely tapped the rear bumper of him, but we'll drop down to P10, but it's not over yet. We continue to struggle. Here comes the 17 up the inside. New leader as well. The 43 of Eric Jones got to the point and cleared the 24 and now is in control. Here comes the 13 of Chandler Smith up my inside as we exit turn 4. P4, that 13 to go through into P11. A great day, actually, for Chandler Smith. Of course, one of his final handful of races now begins with the colleague racing team as Ryan Blaney drops back to P11 as Smith moved into the top 10. Larson as well has been going backwards a little bit now is behind us. We got Logano side by side with that 54 of Ty Gibbs. Lap 100 of 140 at this point. Just 40 laps to go when we come back around one more time. Time is running out, of course. Lap 103 at this point. Now starting to wonder, of course, are we going to see a green flag to the green flag pit stop, or are we going to get a caution before? I can tell you right now, considering our situation, we want a caution, because if we get a caution, you know, in those laps after I make a pit stop and whatnot, between that and the AI having to make theirs, we're going to be royally screwed, and we don't want to do that in the round of 8. Of course, we can get away with it in a round of 16 or a round of 12 setting, but not necessarily the round of 8 now, as we continue to struggle now. But we want, you know, to make it kind of between midway of 100 laps to 140. So I don't want to make my pit stop until about lap 115 in a perfect world. However, the world's not perfect, and we only have 2 laps of fuel, which means we're going to have to pit on lap 110, which would mean, well, with a fuel tank that can hold about 25, 26 laps of fuel, we're going to be 4 or 5 laps short now. Shane Van Gisbergen's into the pits with an engine issue as we cross the stripe, and it says 0 laps of fuel. We're trying to stretch the fuel as much as we can, but we might have stretched it a little bit too far as we exit turn 2. Going down this back straightaway, there it is. We're running out of fuel down this back straightaway, so we need to pull over off the track and just get down to the apron, bring it into the pits. We're not really going to lose that much of time. We just need to make sure we hit the speed limit, which was 35 miles per hour, and we actually got pretty lucky with that one. But now it's coming in and taking 4 tires fuel as well, and just overall hoping for the best situation. And when I say hoping for the best, I mean no caution. Please, no caution. If we can get out of here with that, we're going to be in maybe some decent shape here, because I think we're going to be able to do a good job gaining some ground. But we'll wait and see when some of these AI are pitting. I don't think they're going to wait long. They might pit within another lap or 2, but they never really stretch it to the end of fuel. So I would expect a pit stop cycle to kick off here any moment now as we come through to 29 laps to go, and I believe it's about to kick off. Yes, it is. Eric Jones coming into the pits. Tyler Reddick to the lead of this race here from Dover. Byron and many others into the pits as well. We're going to come through around to try and now unlap ourselves is basically our goal. Crash in turn 1. Suarez for the 2nd time today, and that's going to absolutely ruin our race here in Dover.
Are we going to be stuck 2 laps down?
Yep.
You hear my reaction now. That is devastating. The fact that we made that call to stay out under caution in stage 2 and just ride around for, you know, 4 or 5 laps, unfortunately ends up being the same call that hurts us here with just under 30 laps to go. We're going to spend the rest of this race 2 laps down. Nothing we can do. We're the only car on this lap, so we've got several cars in front of us that are 1 lap down, so we would need a massive caution fest to get even on the lead lap, which obviously is just not going to happen. So quite frustrating now that we can't really do anything. We just have to bring it home, and this is a worst case scenario race. We have not had a playoff race go like this yet, but we knew it was going to happen at some point. It's going to be important to just simply bounce back from this race, because we're just going to ride around to the end. There's 20 some odd laps to go at this point now, when we know that basically, I mean, unless somebody has some kind of mechanical failure, we're going to finish in the 38th position. And on top of that, we have a mirror full of the 31 of Matt DiBenedetto, who's been giving us a bit of a hard time as well. Bubba Wallace finds himself down the order, that 31 again, into our back bumper. Eric Jones leads the way as we head down this back straightaway. A little bit over 20 laps of racing here from Dover remain now, and like I said, yeah, I mean, there's quite simply nothing that we can do. We just need to hang on and cut our losses and kind of, you know, wait to see what the damage is actually going to be once we come through to finish this race, because I've got a feeling it's not going to look that good for us following this race. I mean, we were marching our way through this grid. William Byron actually back to the lead here with 20 laps to go. Of course, that's actually 18 with us being 2 laps down to the inside of Chastain. He's not having a good day. 23rd, Chase Elliott 22nd. So, you know, there is other playoff guys that are having bad days, but us getting trapped in 38th, of course, is just going to lose so many points that could cost us, you know, going forward into these final couple of races in the round of 8, especially when we get to Homestead, Miami. Joey Logano's pitting with a mechanical issue there. That's going to be a position gain, but only, of course, to put us into P37 in a couple laps' time. So it's just about hanging on, letting things play out, hoping for things exactly like that, maybe with playoff guys to happen, but I just don't really think it's going to happen at this point now, as we're up the inside of the number 14 of Chase Briscoe, recently, of course, eliminated there from the playoffs. Now as we go down into turn 1, still side by side with the Stewart Haas Ford Mustang now, and just cruising at this point if we can get clear of this number 14, which we do. Shane Van Gisbergen as well has been marching his way forward as we pass by that 22 of Logano. 14 laps to go, meaning 12 laps to go for the rest of the field, and it's all William Byron in that number 24 in good shape right now, in control of this race, just hoping to not see a caution. If you're William Byron, you have a chance to get your 2nd win of the season, and most importantly, put yourself into the final 4. He won stage 1, Denny Hamlin won stage 2, but Byron trying to pull off the race victory as well. What a big day it could be for that number 24, and put Hendrick Motorsports, of course, into that final 4, but they just got to hang on a little bit further now as we continue to kind of run around the likes of Elliott, Shane Van Gisbergen as well, and actually that 97 was a bit faster than I was at this point in the race, so I was just considering letting him have it now as we continue through 3, and out of turn 4 up the track we go. We don't need to let him have it because we just slipped up the track and he got it anyways now as we continue on out of turn 2, lap 133. The caution is out, and that is going to make things interesting again. I couldn't find the reason for the caution, so this never happens, but it happened twice here in Dover, which was really weird. So William Byron leads over Eric Jones, Martin Truex Jr., your top 3. I'm quite frustrated at this point knowing there's nothing we can do. We're still 2 laps down. It's going to be a 2-lap dash in regulation. We're back racing here, and William Byron looks to punch his ticket into the final 4. Jones has about a quarter, near half car length on him into turn 1, but Byron fights back with help from the 67 of Martin Truex Jr. Clear is Byron on the exit of turn 2. We're side by side with the 47 of Corey Heim as we head down into turn number 3. But all eyes are on that Raptor number 24 for Hendrick Motorsports. Out of turn 4, white flag is waving for William Byron. P37 is all it's going to be, unfortunately for us here in this Dover Raceway, and I'm quite frustrated, really specifically with the 06 of Daniel Suarez, who of course is the reason we're in this position. He caused 2 cautions here today, but Byron covers off Truex through 3, who goes high. They both go high. Byron leads out of turn 4. William Byron win 2, and now a position in the final 4, his first appearance of this career mode in that race, as we just show our displeasure with the 06 across the line, because we know what this did for our day. Byron gets the win over Truex and Busher, Bell, Jones at top 5. Christopher Bell's worst finish in 5 races is 4th place. Kyle Larson inside the top 10. Hamlin, honestly, I think he had the fastest car overall, ends up P9. Ty Gibbs gets a respectable P10. Blaney got a better finish than where he kind of ran. Chastain and Elliott 17th and 18th place, which is not good for them. And of course, us, down in 37th place, just an absolute disaster. And we'll take a look at the playoff grid, and it's not pretty. Byron locks himself in. Bell, 29 points above the cut line. Kyle Larson, 21, your defending champion. Ty Gibbs, 5 points above. Chastain, 5 below. And then us, 8 points below after a miserable day. And a lot of things going against us. And Chase Elliott, 18 points below. Ryan Blaney, 22 back. Darlington is going to set the tone for everything. And I'll see you guys there, where we all, below this cut line, look for a bounce back weekend. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.